that would no eastward expansion of NATO towards Russia ever happen. It was over. At that time, there were 16 NATO members. Today, 33 years later, after this agreement, there are 32 NATO members, even though in 1991 we agreed to no more eastward expansion. We broke the agreement. We, NATO and the United States. NATO has expanded eastward 7 times since that agreement in 1991. The largest expansion in 2004 included 2 countries that share a border with Russia, Estonia and Latvia. Today, NATO includes 3 countries that border Russia. 6 NATO members are former Warsaw Pact members. The bulk of this expansion happened before Russia annexed Crimea and invaded part of Ukraine in 2014. Again, these are all the facts. All play a part in the NATO story and Russia's response to it. Here's another fact. NATO's expansion was on NATO's terms, separate and apart from any Russian input or activity. Let me read that again. NATO's expansion was on NATO's terms, separate and apart from any Russian input or activity, contrary to Secretary Austin's claims. Ask yourself, how would the U.S. react if China or Russia entered a mutual defense organization with Mexico or Canada? How would we react? What if they started basing troops or participating in military exercises just miles from our homeland? Having covered a brief history of NATO, let's ask logical follow-up questions that we should always ask before involving ourselves in any armed conflict. First, how far are we willing to take this proxy war with Russia? How far are we? Did we think about that before we got into this? Are we committed to winning as Russia's president is, Vladimir Putin? Are we committed to winning? What happens if the momentum turns? What happens if it turns against Ukraine and Russia starts making real gains, as it appears is happening today? Will the U.S. send more taxpayer money, more weapons? Will NATO send troops? Will the United States send troops? What's the plan? War is a serious business. We should understand that by now. You don't half-ass your way into one, and certainly don't half-ass your way out of one. That doesn't seem to resonate around here. Since the Russian offensive began, we have sent more than $174 billion taxpayer dollars to Ukraine, one of the most corrupt countries in the world. Recently, the Biden-Harris administration announced their intent to send an additional $700 million taxpayer dollars to Ukraine in cash. Are you kidding me?